VAT audit. But if he gives his trucks or tempo with the driver, then all of our understanding is, since he is not transferring ownership as well as possession, it is a service transaction in nature, so he will be liable for service tax and not VAT. But I would like to draw your attention, there is a DDQ in the case of Wings Travel, which is against the dealer, and unfortunately that matter went to the tribunal, but tribunal didn't heard in detail and revert back again to the department. And as far as my knowledge, so far nothing has come further in that issue. See, in this, what was the view of the commissioner in the case of Wings Travel? Though it was a case of supply of car or giving car along with the chauffeur on hire charges. The view of the commissioner was between 9 to 5 or between 10 to 5, the car as well as chauffeur are in indirect possession of the company. Neither car nor chauffeur can move between this period. So you cannot say that there is no possession given, and accordingly he opined that they will be liable for VAT under lease tax. But I don't know what would be the further outcome. A specific order was placed by customer with the branch. Accordingly, the goods were transferred from head office situated in other state to its branch. Whether claim of branch transfer be allowed or not. If not, whether the issuance of C form by the branch instead of F form will be sufficient for such a sales. According to me, there are direct Supreme Court judgment in the case of KG Khosla & Company 38 STC 475 and English Electric Company 43 STC 457. Both are Supreme Court judgment, and it was held by the Supreme Court when there are pre-existing orders on the hands of a branch, and against that branch is placing the order, it will not be allowed as a branch transfer claim. So here, since the branch transfer claim fails, so even though branch issue F form, it's of no use. It becomes an interstate sales made by the HO to the ultimate buyer. So at the most he can accept the C form from the ultimate buyer, but F form, it's of no use. In a case where the goods transfer on consignment basis to other states, say in the month of April 13 worth rupees 1 lakh, out of these goods worth rupees 40,000 have been returned in the same month. Whether form F is required for gross or net amount, whether F form is required for 1 lakh or 60,000. According to me, since both the transactions are a separate transaction, it cannot be netted off. So according to me, for both the transactions, F form would be required. Individual value. Individual, it cannot be netted off. HO has transferred certain sample to its branch in which it has put values of all the samples for transport purpose, and also written that it has got no commercial value. Normally we may come across that HO or branch is sending some sample for display purpose. They write it has got no commercial value. Whether form F is required to be taken from the branch or not. According to me, if you refer section 6A of the CST Act, in that section nowhere it is provided whether it is for commercial value or non-commercial value. So according to me, F form is required. Value mentioned in the bill. While conducting VAT audit, you come across that there was OMA sales sold against form C at 2%, and in support of that you found sales invoice and form C received but no dispatch proof, that is lorry receipt or rail receipts were found. As a VAT auditor, whether you should allow said sales as OMA sales or are to be treated as a local sales and liability to be discharged at local VAT rate. See, nowadays all of you must be come across in case of desk audit declaration forms, they are asking for invoice and dispatch proof, correct? So whether if dispatch proof is not available, whether it would be treated as a local transaction or still there are any other option. according to me, if you have invoice, C-form as well as delivery challan, and even though dispatch proofs are not available, still it should be allowed. There is a judgment in the case of Swastik Plastics, our own tribunal, essay number 257 and 258 of 2005, dated 29th March 2006, and RR Enterprise, essay number 1455 of 2002, dated 25th January 2007. In that it was whole, even though dispatch proofs are not available, but based on the documents like delivery order, delivery challan, sales bills and C-form, claims of interstate sales are allowed. So you can very well take help of both the judgment and you can argue your case, and as a VAT auditor you can very well you can allow this claim of OMS. Swastik Plastics, essay number 257 and 258 of 2005, dated 29th March 2006, and RR Enterprise, essay number 1455 of 2002, dated 25th January 2007. Another issue, the SSC has filed the original returns for the year 13-14 on the due dates. It's in time. He has also revised all the returns, but not within the time prescribed. All the revised returns are correctly prepared. He approached the auditor for the purpose of MVAT audit. VAT auditor has also considered the revised return and finalized its VAT audit report. Now, since revised returns were filed late, can sales tax officer take the objection and disallow your claim, or can reject the form 704 whether action of the STO be correct or not? In my view, no. Even though the returns are filed late, belated return, still it will not be ceased to be a return. It is still to be treated as a return. There is a judgment, our own tribunal judgment, SM Systems Private Limited, SA 499 of 2004, dated 31st July 2007, and Kishanmal Rajmal 45 STC 88. In both the judgments, it was held that even though returns were filed late, not within the prescribed time, it has to be considered for assessment. I'll give one live example. I am fighting appeal in one of my case. What has happened in that case? At the time of finalization of 704, no returns were filed. So I have kept 0 in returns column figure. In audit figure from the books of account, we arrived the correct figure, we filed the return. The order was passed ex parte. They have disallowed the claim of C-form and others. I am in appeal. The appellate authority is arguing with me that since you have not filed the return, and after VAT audit, after 3 months, we have filed the return, the original return, correct? We have disclosed that. At appellate authority stand is, since you have not filed the return or filed belated return, it will not be allowed. Because I have argued, since my client has accepted that turnover and liability in 704. In 704 there is a letter of submission and acceptance by the dealer. So he has accepted the liability. He has also filed the return, though original return late, but he has filed the return. Appellate authority is arguing that since VAT auditor is also a deemed officer, so he found out before you file any return, so there is a concealment. I say where it is written in the provisions of law. If you say deemed officer, VAT auditors are deemed officer, then you should have accepted what is given in VAT audit report. Why you are going against? Not in my case, in all the case. So still that case is going on. Let's see. And there also I have quoted these two and one more judgment of Batasu Company Private Limited.
SM System citation.
SA 499 of 2004, dated 31st July 2007. Another issue, MRP Limited, a company situated in Maharashtra state, has transferred the goods on consignment basis to a party in Gujarat state, say consignee B. Consignee turned out to be a fraud, and runs away with the sales proceed from the place after selling the goods. So here there are two transactions. One, there is a consignment transfer from Maharashtra to Gujarat to their consignment agent, and that consignment agent has sold the goods in Gujarat. Now the question is whether Maharashtra government can ask for the tax as well as Gujarat government can ask for the tax. According to me, since agent is absconded, so F form is not possible, so branch transfer claim will be failed. So according to me, it becomes an interstate sales and principal is liable to pay CST on that transactions. Registered dealer in Maharashtra is engaged in business of diamond. See here, this diamond dealer, what they are doing, they purchase the rough diamond and they send that rough diamond to their job worker, maybe its own office or maybe to external contractor for polishing, and after that they get back that polished diamond. Correct? They are sending say 100 carats of diamonds, rough diamonds, but they are getting only 35 carats of diamond, polished diamond. Now the question is whether retention under rule 53 would be applicable or not. See, if we'll refer rule 53.3, there is one proviso added to rule 53.3. Majority of you must be knowing that in last 1 or 2 years this proviso was inadvertently removed in all the books, all the law books, even it was in Maharashtra government site also this proviso was removed. But then after, because of our representation, again it has come back, it took place in the website as well as in some of the books. What that proviso is, if you send your goods for job work or job processing to your own office or branch, if it has been returned within 6 months, then there will not be a question of retention under rule 53.3. But if it is not returned within the said period of 6 months, retention under rule 53.3 at the rate of 4% would be applicable. But what would be the case in case of diamonds were sent for job process to another external contractor, not your branch or agent? Then in that case, whether retention under rule 53.3 would be applicable or not. It's a crucial issue. I would like to draw your attention. The Honorable Commissioner Circular 16T of 2007 and 5T of 2009. See, in 16T of 2007, the Honorable Commissioner has elaborately explained this situation. Goods sent for job work to own branches or to external contractor, and according to that circular, it's a beneficial circular, though this circular was withdrawn since because of Ambika Steel judgment, and they wanted to make F form mandatory, it was withdrawn. But in that circular, still that analogy still holds good. According to that circular, retention would only applicable if there is a transfer of or sending of goods for job work from principal to agent. But it will not be applicable in the case of principal to principal. So here external contractors are principal. So there is a case of transfer of goods from principal to principal, and according to me, rule 53.3 would not be applicable even in after withdrawal of the circular in case of principal to principal. In the above given case, now F form become mandatory for all types of issue or receipt of goods. Now say in case of goods sent for job work on principal to principal basis, the cost of rough diamond of 100 carat is rupees 10 lakhs, and cost of addition towards labor charges is rupees 2 lakhs, and market value of polished diamond is 25 lakhs. So at what amount F form is to be issued? According to me, while sending it should be given for 10 lakhs, returning 12 lakhs. Here you should not consider market value, it's of no use. Whatever may be the market value, you should consider the cost. Another issue crop up, suppose F form of certain value has not been received till the date of finalization of VAT audit, then whether such value should have been shown as a part of GTO, and as a auditor whether we should furnish the detail of non-receipt of such declaration in Annexure I of Form 704 with quantification of tax liability. According to me, since now F form becomes mandatory, we should furnish the detail of F form. Though you should not discharge right now for liability. Another issue is importer having registered office at Delhi. They are registered under VAT and CST at Delhi. What he did, he has imported the goods at Mumbai port, say worth rupees 25 lakhs. Foreign suppliers import invoice shows address of Delhi. After clearing the goods at Mumbai port, this Delhi dealer has transferred all such goods to their branches or agents in other state, maybe in small lot or bulk to bulk. Now whether the question is registration is required in the state of Maharashtra either under MVAT Act or CST Act, and in which state a form is required to be produced, Maharashtra or Delhi. If we'll refer section 3 of MVAT Act, what is the condition for getting registration as an importer? 1 lakh turnover of sales, 10,000 taxable goods sales or purchase, and any amount of import, maybe even 5 rupees will do. So considering that proviso, whether this Delhi dealer will be liable for registration under Maharashtra, according to me no, because he has fulfilled condition of import, but other conditions are not fulfilled, he will not be liable for registration. Now the question is, in which state F form is required to be submitted, whether Maharashtra or Delhi? Whether Delhi would come into the picture since he is registered in Delhi? According to me no, because goods have never gone to Delhi. Goods have never moved to Delhi and never transferred from Delhi. So question of submission of F form at Delhi does not arise. At the most, the issue may come for submission of F form to Maharashtra government. That is possible. Will the answer differ if importer has transfer goods worth rupees 23 lakhs to his agent and his branch in other state and sold goods worth rupees 3 lakhs, cost rupees 2 lakhs, and there are no chance that the declaration to the tune of rupees 10 lakhs will be received? So in this case, whether he will be liable for registration? According to me yes, because since 10 lakhs worth of F form are not going to be received, there are no chance. If there are chance, yes, they can produce at later stage, but as we know there are no chance of getting the F form, so the transaction of branch transfer gets failed. So according to me, considering this 10 lakhs and that 3 lakhs, he will be liable for registration and liable for VAT.
Should be, how does he know that? You will know that the iPhone is not going to come and you will.
Dealer will come to know, no? Department will not come to know. Dealer will come to know. Then he can get the registration considering that. Department may not come to know at this stage.
Even dealer may not know.
See, in this example, I presume that he is not going to get. In this example, I told you in the beginning that if he is sure in near future is going to get, no issue, no. Then no issue to discharge any liability. Don't consider as on today. But he is sure that he is not going to get, then definitely on his own he can go for registration. Messrs. Nayan Traders, which is a proprietary concern doing retail business of paper, having turnover less than rupees 50 lakhs in both the years, that is 11-12 and 12-13. He has opted for composition scheme in the financial year 13-14 also. What will be the repercussion under below given situation? Suppose he has done URD purchase. He has done transaction of URD purchase in the month of June 13. Or suppose he has purchased from out of Maharashtra states capital assets on 1/10/2013. Now my question is whether since he has done the contravention, we all know. But from which date he will be out of the composition scheme, whether from 1/4/13 or whether from the date of contravention, maybe 1/6/13 or 1/10/13 or from 1/4/14. See, as on today, so far no clarification has come from the department, and we all are in confused mind what would be the outcome under this situation. But according to my view, your composition scheme will be withdrawn from the date of contravention. Till that date you can have a benefit of composition scheme, and from the date of contravention you have to discharge your liability under normal method. The other might be having different view. Set off is already claimed on purchase of raw material in the return for the month of December 13. Subsequently, the raw material is destroyed. Thereafter, in the month of February 14, insurance claim is admitted. Whether the amount of insurance claim received is taxable, whether set off already claim needs to be reversed and to be paid to the government, according to me, no. First of all, as we know, under a VAT laws, for claiming set off, there are no condition for claiming set off, unlike in BST Act. In BST Act, there was a condition that it should be resold or it should be sold to OMS or export and so on. In MVAT, it's a good provision, there are no condition. The moment you purchase, you are entitled for set off. And whatever insurance claim you got, it's not a transaction of sales. So, and you need not reverse your input credit. Whether VAT auditors should take cognizance of list of hawala leaders or short filer or non-filers while conducting audit, it's a big issue for all of us. But we come across in our day-to-day practice what to do. Still, in my view, as a VAT auditor, see, we are not investigator, correct? We give our views or opinion, true and fair view. And we also know, if you look at the website of the government of list of hawala dealers, still as on today they are writing suspicious dealer. It means they are also not sure whether they are hawala or not. But as a precaution, we should advise our client, look, we found this much teams are in hawala or non-filer or short filer. We suggest you